Squirrel's like, do I want to hop over with all this rain? Get it and run back. And it's pouring today. I don't think this is going to stop anytime soon. Alright, what did I read today? I thought this was kind of interesting just in terms of things like drone weight, with all that news in the US about things like you need to put propeller guards potentially, I guess, even with small drones, which would make it over the 250 weight. But how about this one, when people design drones really light, and I guess you could say in a very eco-friendly way. This one says, Malaysian team turns pineapple waste into disposable drone parts. Malaysian researchers have developed a method to transform the fiber found in normally discarded pineapple leaves to make a strong material that can be used to build the frames for the unmanned aircraft or drones. The project, headed by Professor Muhammad Tariq Hamid Sultan at Malaysia's Putra University, has been trying to find sustainable uses for pineapple waste generated by farmers in Hulu Langat, an area about 65 kilometers from Kuala Lumpur. As it would seem, it literally is what it says, a flying drone made with, I guess, parts of a pineapple. It says, we are transforming the leaf of the pineapple into a fiber that can be used for aerospace applications. Basically inventing a drone, he told Reuters at a workshop. Drones made out of the biocomposite material had a higher strength-weight ratio than those made from synthetic fibers and were also cheaper, lighter, and easier to dispose of. If the drone was damaged, the frame could be buried in the ground and would degrade within 2 weeks, he said. The prototype drones have been able to fly a height of about 1,000 meters or 3,280 feet and stay in the air for about 20 minutes, he added. Ultimately, the research team hopes to create a larger drone to accommodate bigger payloads, including imagery sensory for agricultural purposes and aerial inspections. That sounds kind of nuts, isn't it? It's almost like a regular drone, although I don't know if this will necessarily be better in various weather circumstances. For example, if it is like a pineapple leaf, it makes me think personally, like that little stipulation about the thing where you cannot lacerate human skin and you need prop guards or whatever, like what that FAA said. What happens if people start inventing stuff like this pretty quickly, where it's a pretty light drone, and I think if it's gonna crash anything, it won't like slice off your finger or anything like that. So yeah, maybe that's just a sign of saying they're completely outdated already with the way of thinking and making regulations and all that. I find usually even here in Canada, the people who are really, I guess, for over-the-top drone regulations, again, their idea of a drone is only things like a DJI drone. So in many ways you can say they're extremely culturally ignorant. That's the only way to really say it in a polite way. They're not really aware of things like, for example, like a model aircraft or an FPV racing drone. So it makes you wonder whether or not, again, it's more about bringing in new blood for people that generate things like regulations and all that. They need to know firsthand what it's actually like. And I know with things like drone regulations, like the over-the-top rules, the proposed ones, a lot of people are saying it's because of big commercial companies like Amazon. So it's kind of interesting reading this one. This one says, Amazon buys planes for the first time to expand its cargo air fleet. Until this week, the company had leased aircraft to build out Amazon Air. So I guess it's no joke in general, drones or not, they're really going to take, I guess, the airspace in many ways to do business. It says Amazon's buying 7 used aircraft from Delta and 4 from Canada's WestJet after they retrofitted to carry cargo. The latter 4 will start flying for the company later this year. Meanwhile, the Delta jets will join Amazon Air in 2022. As with all of its existing planes, Amazon says these new planes will be operated by contractors. That's kind of interesting too, because I would imagine for things like their drone operations, will they actually outsource everything or will they do everything internally? I would imagine most of them are autonomous, wouldn't they? Like that's the vision for drone delivery and all that. But yeah, big business, I guess you could say, taking over the skies eventually, if they haven't already. And the last thing I read today was kind of interesting. Remember that news story I read of that politician that essentially got caught traveling out of Canada when the person basically told the whole country, oh, stay home, we know it's going to be hard. So it's basically very hypocritical, I guess, of a politician not to follow their own directions. I guess this thing is becoming kind of big, like here in Canada. This one says a list of politicians who traveled abroad despite pandemic era advice to stay home. So apparently there's a ton of them doing that. Man, this is not gonna end well, I guess. And a funny thing about this, just reading headlines about takes and stories about this from around the world. This one says, Canadian politician faked Twitter post to conceal Caribbean holiday. And it seems like a lot of people are referencing things like that episode for The Simpsons where there was an epidemic episode where everyone was getting like a virus, and there was the mayor. He basically had like a press release trying to pretend he was at his office, but apparently he was on vacation. So it was something like this, like the line went, "And now for an emergency announcement for the mayor." He goes, "People of Springfield, because of the epidemic, I have canceled my vacation to the Bahamas. I shall not leave the city." And then you see this guy walk past and he's like, "Hey, you, get that steel drum out of the mayor's office." Man, I guess this show pretty much predicts the future, as people say all the time, huh? Although the sad thing about this is, I guess it kind of shows many times in these cases, people like this say things and do things more for show and public perception, not actually because they're focused on things like, I guess, safety and all that. Okay, definitely no flying today. It's raining really hard. I guess it's time for the archive. Alright, see you guys later.